Y'all can't say I never told you nothing, and I didn't charge you for it either. The only thing you had to pay today was your time and a couple of ads here on YouTube.
Kristyn, Alexis. Something magnetic draws you near to me. Our worlds collided like a symphony. This is how true love's supposed to be.
A vivacious boss with plenty style. Come on, girl, it's showtime now.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Kristyn, and I am so excited to be recording this video today with you guys. Today I have a very fun video for you guys. I think you're gonna really enjoy it, and I am so excited to talk about this. I'm just gonna tell you guys though, I'm giving you the tea on exactly what I do and have done for the last 3 times the market has made a considerable size dip. I did very well with this methodology in 2025, as well as in 2024, as well as in 2023, and I also really smashed it in 2026 as well. So I'm excited to tell you guys about this, but before we get into it, I do have to preface this and say this is for educational purposes only. This is absolutely not trading advice, okay? You have got to do your own analysis and research and all of those good things, but we're gonna have a discussion here today that hopefully is entertaining and you guys get something out of it. I do have a cheat sheet, so I am gonna be referencing a little cheat sheet on my phone because I wanna be honest, and if you guys know me, you know I can run on, so we're gonna try real hard not to do that today. In today's video, I'm gonna be sharing with you how I have already nailed 4 out of 6 of my 2026 targets across a few stocks that I was really excited to be trading this year. I'm hype, okay? I'm really excited about this. I'm gonna be spilling the tea though, so y'all can't say I never told you nothing, and I didn't charge you for it either. The only thing you had to pay today was your time and a couple of ads here on YouTube. That's a pretty good freaking deal, okay? But I'm just ecstatic because I have used this logic and methodology for the last several years successfully. I've done very well, knock on wood, and I just feel very grateful for this information. I definitely have to credit ICT, aka Michael Huddleston, as well as Goldbach, my Goldbach teachers, and just what I've learned from them. I definitely really enjoy Goldbach, but I do have to say for this idea, it is primarily what ICT taught. It's very simple, nothing complicated, nothing that you have to honestly get wrapped around the axle, but at the same time, it is just one of those things where it just kind of works. But I do have to say, I do have a lot of experience. I've been doing this for about 6 years, and I'm one of those people where I do go very deep down rabbit holes. So for me, I can look at things, and there's a lot that I'm gleaning from the chart just from looking at a naked chart, as I am able to read what ICT calls PD arrays without having anything charted on my chart. So I definitely have to spike that out because sometimes there are things that I see subconsciously that I may not even realize I'm kind of pulling from when looking at the analysis or the chart that I'm currently analyzing. But I have a cheat sheet, so you will see me looking down. I have to apologize in advance, but I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm gonna try to stay very close to the point on the couple of bullet points that I have. But first, I want to share with you what the list was. If you follow me on Instagram, you already know the majority of this list, and you've seen me talk about just about all of these things if you follow me closely there. Most of the time, I post in my story about the stock stuff because I don't want to put too much on my regular page about it, but at the same time, if you follow me there and you keep up with me, you've probably seen these stocks that I was looking at for 2026. But the first one, and again, I'm going to lean on my cheat sheet just a little bit, but Meta was one. My target on Meta is 478.72, and this target has not been reached. My second target for 2026 was Netflix at $82.11. That target has been reached. My third one was Microsoft, and that target was $455.54. That target has been reached and passed. My fourth target on Apple was $243.76. That target has been reached and passed. My fifth target was Bitcoin, $74,508. That target has been reached and passed. My sixth target is NQ. It is the 3 and 9 month fair value gaps, and that target has not been reached as of yet. And then I have a target on NQ of $22,225.72. My seventh target is on SoFi, and that target has been reached at $23.52. So those were the stocks that I was looking at for 2026, and I'm just Y'all, I'm hyped because it's only February. Like, Valentine's Day was yesterday and we've already blown past most of these targets. And for me, I'm one of those people where I'm gonna pick the target that I feel like price is gonna hit, and then they can have the rest. Like, everybody can have the rest. I just want to know where we're gonna get to, and then from there I tend to go on and move on and focus on other things. But I'm gonna tell you first and foremost, why did I pick from this list? Like, why was this the list of all the stocks out there that I decided to focus on for these trades? And I'm gonna break it down for you, okay? So the first one is, I like to trade very high time frame fair value gaps. I honestly don't think I had ever seen anybody trade the time frames that I trade for fair value gaps until I just looked to see if they were even possible to see in TradingView. So I like to look at the 3-month, the 6-month, the 9-month, and the 12-month time frames. And for me, I like those time frames because they correlate really nicely with quarterly theory, which I did learn from Day, if you guys have heard from Day, or About Day on YouTube or Twitter, which is now X. I learned a lot about that, and that just kind of got me thinking around unique time frames that could present and align really nicely with quarterly theory. So from looking at those time frames, I have found some very tremendous opportunities. And one of the first ones I really capitalized with this idea in 2025 was AMD. AMD was one of my biggest trades of 2025. I did very well with AMD. And if you follow me on Threads, you know I was like, we are gonna hit that target. I don't care what nobody says, we're getting there. And AMD, she kissed my target and left. I think the low on AMD was just a little bit below $79 and some change, and I bought in at $80 exactly and rode that thing all the way up to all-time high and above, and did very well for 2025, in addition to taking the short and puts down to the target. So long story short, this idea and methodology has proven time and time again for me to be very successful. I also got into Crowd, I think it was Crowd, CRWD, and had a very similar trade where I had called a target on that one. I don't remember exactly what it was off the top of my head, but I believe it was like sub 300, and this was the same thing. It hit that target and probably spent the better of 5 to 10 minutes there and left. So I have done very well by looking at high time frame fair value. There are some other things I do look at to get the price to be just right so I can get that sweep. But on these targets here, I didn't really want to try to get it where I have to get that perfect pivot. I just wanted to know what is my high probability, because I plan to take the shorts on these, and I wanted to know where I knew without a shadow of a doubt price was going to make it to. So that's the first thing. I look for very high time frame fair value gaps that are often unique to other people. And again, I don't think I've ever seen anybody use a 12-month chart for 12-month fair value gaps. So you heard it here first. The second thing is, I was looking for things that already had a bear breaker. I will say a couple of these I was already targeting in 2025 and had this as an idea before the breaker was confirmed and created and validated. For those of you who have seen me in some Discord groups, I've been talking about Microsoft for quite some time. I knew Microsoft was gonna go there. I sold Microsoft at basically right at the top. Okay, I got out right at the top. I got out at Meta right at the top. Like, I have done very well with nailing my exits and my entries. So that's why when people say, you don't need to sell because you can't time the bottom, that's for you, boo, okay?
Once you see it, no one, not anyone, is going to be able to convince you otherwise.
I've done pretty well with it. I'm gonna just, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I have it all figured out, but at the same time, I have done pretty well with just leveraging the logic that Michael teaches, and it works. Like, it's done very well for me.
You have to know where price is wanting to go. If you don't have that, you're doomed.
I did sell Microsoft at the highs, and I have been looking for my entry to get back in so that I can play the next move up whenever that time happens. But like I was saying, I want to get back to my point because y'all know I can run on. I was looking for the breaker, okay? So most of these things did have a bear breaker at the time that I was ready to position for them. So that way I know I have something I can anchor my stop loss to and basically just go ahead and get into those trades, because I don't have the time to be able to watch those charts and manage the trade, especially with them being as high time frame as they are. I want to be able to get in, set my alerts, have my position being managed, and when my alerts go off, whether it's telling me the trade failed and to exit and I'm taking a loss, or my take profit has been hit. One of the two, okay? So that is what I'm looking for, and I like to use the breaker to manage and anchor my stop loss, but I do also use some gold box methodology to also be able to move my stop loss and anchor my stop loss as well. But I unfortunately will not be sharing those little tips in this video here today because it's not my logic and I don't feel like it is my place to share that with you guys. So the third reason why I pick these stocks is when I look at them, these are targets that I truly believe in my heart have to be hit. I feel about as close to 100% that these targets are gonna be reached. Anytime I have that kind of conviction, I want to play the trade. The only one I will say I was definitely very nervous about was SoFi, because I positioned on SoFi pretty late in the game. Like, I got in on that Monday with my husband and one of my friends and my son, and we played that one for earnings, and that one I did get in and then out, and then I got back in literally the night before earnings because I was like, you know what? Stop being a punk. Stop being a punk and get in this trade. And fortunately it did hit, and it's still falling. Like, that thing is still going right now, and I'm like, girl, you should have held something. But yeah, so these are targets that in my mind I believe and have very strong conviction on, and ICT has always said you want to be able to have that conviction that nobody can take away from you, that you believe price is going to a specific place, and that you have your invalidation levels that you know cannot be disrespected if your idea is correct. And if they invalidate the idea, they invalidate the idea. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I've been wrong before, and I'm gonna be wrong again. So I do have a couple of standout examples though that I do want to tell you guys from these trades that I'm just super excited about. The first one, like I mentioned, was SoFi, and I'm excited about that one because it was an earnings trade. Earnings trades always feel risky because they feel more like gambling, but at the same time I know the chart is gonna do what it's gotta do, and the chart sets up before the news. So I'm gonna play the trade. If I see the trade and I feel like I know where it's going, I'm gonna take that trade. I don't always have that kind of conviction around earnings, but I have had a lot of success with earnings trade with the methodology that I trade, because I do believe wholeheartedly that the chart sets up before the news. It's not always clear to you what it is. It's not always obvious with what I know to be able to see it, you know, with as much conviction as I had on this particular trade, but I will say I do believe that they do set up before the actual news is released. Okay, so another one I wanted to talk about is Netflix. Netflix was already on the move. I did not catch this one from inception or from the beginning of the trade. However, it did have a breaker. It also had earnings coming up, and this was another one where I was like, they gonna hit that target. There's no way that we have this bear breaker and we're pulling up on this majorly huge high time frame fair value gap, and we not gonna hit it. They're gonna hit this gap. So I positioned on that one, and that was another really good success story where Netflix did make it to the target right on time. And the last one that I kind of wanted to spike out is Meta. Meta is still moving. I traded Meta in shorts to a couple of areas that I felt a lot of conviction that it was gonna get to. One of them being a high time frame balance price range. I took Meta down, and then when it hit the level that I was targeting, which was on the 1 month, if I'm not mistaken, it was a 1 month balance price range fair value gap where you had a bearish gap, I believe was on the left, and a bullish gap on the right. So basically it was kind of like this gap down and then another one up, and price traded right down into that BPR, and I was looking for price to find support there once it did to at least give a bounce, and that's exactly what she did. So I took the short down, and then I bought shares at the bottom, and when it bounced I got a very nice payout on that, and I did exit almost everything on that position because I do foresee that Meta is going to go a little bit lower. If Meta for any reason confirms and validates that it's done and it's going to go higher, I am going to position on Meta for long term again. However, if Meta is going to go to this target that I have, I do not want to ride Meta down another $200. So I am not I am not going to go full position on Meta until it reaches the final target that I have or validates that it is for sure the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to use the logic that I use to confirm that that bottom is in, but for now I don't see that. And especially with NQ still not hitting the targets that I have, I'm not positioning heavy on anything until that happens. So I do also kind of want to talk about surprises and things that kind of catch me off guard even to this day, because no matter how good you are, you can never be too confident that you are smarter than the algorithm. And I will say there are times where even with the conviction that I have to be very careful in my confidence in it. And what I mean by that is I've always had people tell me and just remind me, be careful trying to time the market. You might be right about the idea, but sometimes you're wrong about when they're gonna do it, because the market uses time to definitely manipulate you, and it will manipulate you when you think you know it's going somewhere. They will come right up and pull right up on it and do a pivot, and then they'll come back and do it again. And I like to call those relative equal lows. That's logic that I learned from ICT. And relative equal lows are an algorithmic way that the stock market manipulates, okay? They create this level that they make you believe is super strong, because when price keeps coming back to it, it keeps giving you a bounce. But I know better. I know that those are freaking targets. So when I see the market create those relative equal lows, most of the time I'm thinking it's going straight for my target. And I always forget about relative equal lows until it turns. And that actually happened recently with NQ and with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, I'll start there, on Sunday pulled right up to the target. And I can't trade Bitcoin in my funded account, so I was paper trading Bitcoin, and it came so close to my target, and I was so glad I put my little TP, even though it was fake money, a little bit above. And I like to do this because I know they love to give a good fake out. I got taken out of that trade. Bitcoin bounced, did a whole pivot up, and then failed to go higher and came back and ran through the target that I have. And that is what I recently saw with NQ as well. NQ did the same thing, and it also has gotten a lot of people feeling like we're still bullish. However, I don't think so. I don't think we're really going anywhere, but that's just me, okay? I might be completely wrong, but we'll see here really, really soon. So that is something that they will trip me up on occasionally, is those relative equal lows. And then when I see them do it, I'm like, yeah, y'all almost got me right there. Which is another reason why I do like to buy time when I position in puts, for, you know, just to make sure I don't get trapped in a particular trade or run out of time because my contracts go to dust while I'm waiting for the move to happen. So I do still have 2 stocks that I'm waiting on, one of them being Meta, like I mentioned, and the second one being NQ. NQ is so close right now to my first target of the 3-month and the 9-month fair value gap. We do currently have a bear breaker on NQ on the day chart, and it has currently rejected that bear breaker, and we have a bearish fair value gap, which are all bearish PD arrays per ICT. And ICT teaches when the market is bearish, the market creates bearish PD arrays. However, it doesn't mean that it can't flip. So I just want to make sure that it does reach the targets. However, if it goes down there and it goes fast and pivots out, we could turn. If they go down there and it holds, I definitely am going to be looking for continuation down to the last targets that I do have on NQ, ES, and the Dow Jones. I personally would like to see them go lower and just go ahead and hit those targets, because I'm just kind of one of those things where I'm like, handle that unfinished business now, go ahead and knock it out, and then that way we can move on from there and just keep going up. But we will see. You know, you just never know. And this environment that we're in right now is unlike anything I think I have ever seen. There's a lot going on from a catalyst perspective, and none of it at this point has really changed anything. We have basically been in consolidation on NASDAQ since November. It's basically been since like October or November of 2025. We created the dealing range for this particular consolidation, I believe, starting in October, and we have consolidated in there since November of 2025, and it is right now February the 15th. So if that gives you a little bit of a picture of how long we have been in the same range, this mug is balanced, okay? Ain't nothing else to do. Just go ahead and do what you gotta do so we can move on, NASDAQ. Can you guys tell I'm having fun here? So yeah, I'm not gonna get greedy on Meta. If Meta does not hit my target and it sets up, that's okay. We'll just go ahead and position for upside. But I personally would like to see it just go ahead and clean up those lows and pivot from there, and the same with the NQ. And I do think there is the potential that we may go very deep and clean up all of that move up we had in 2025. That was a very long move, and we ultimately were bullish for several months straight up with no red candles. And the lack of red candles is basically the lack of order block, and the lack of order block is kind of the lack of support. So there is the potential we could make a decent move down. So in reflection and closing, I do think I have found a sweet spot with this methodology and with this logic, and pairing it with Goldbach and Goldbach's paths. I just really love it. I love the Goldbach paths. I feel like I've mastered them. I think they're amazing when paired with ICT dealing range logic and his PD arrays. I can't say enough about it, and I wish I would have found it earlier, but at the same time, even without that information to kind of help add additional confluence to my ideas, I do feel like you can get there with just fair value and liquidity to know what the targets are. But again, do your own research. This is an educational conversation, so you have to come up with your own targets and make sure they are backed by your analysis so that you can protect your own capital when you trade. But I hope you guys got something out of this video. I really hope you've enjoyed. Make sure if you did, you put a thumbs up on the video and a comment in the comment section to let me know what your favorite trade for 2026 has been so far. But with that, I'll see you guys next time. I love you as always, and I hope you have a great day and amazing trading year in 2026.